Call me slow. I don't fucking know. But I can tell you this much. I keep getting these fucking revelations and epiphanies about this breakup. And even though the breakup has happened almost 2 years ago, I think it's important to always not just remember the lessons, but learn some of the new lessons so that you can break this karmic cycle. You know what I'm saying? And one of the fucking lessons, or the epiphany that turned into a lesson, was that let me set the scene up, the whole fucking scene. I was driving on my way home from work, and I realized something very fucking valuable. Okay, so if you haven't been watching my channel, I'm just gonna give you a quick rundown because maybe this is your first time seeing my shit. All right, but this is a disclaimer. In order for me to make a certain point, sometimes, not all the time, but in order for me to make a point, there's times when I'll jump around to different points, and then within a main point, I'll jump around to different points within a fucking main point, and you can kind of connect the dots and see where I'm going with it. It's not just me going all over the place. All right. I'm not a fucking therapist. I am not board fucking certified. I am not, don't have a degree. What I do have is motherfucking life experience. And my experience for me is talk therapy is healing. I can't hold shit in. So, one of the epiphanies that came to me on my way home while I was driving was that, bang, backtrack to my story. If you're not familiar with my channel, so this channel was created out of heartbreak. I was with someone for almost 3 fucking decades. And our relationship suffered greatly at the demise of separation. The separation being that, he was incarcerated for a period of 13 years. I've waited 13 years for him to come home. Once he returned home, our fucking relationship totally took a fucking nosedive into cement, you know. And I think he was home maybe a year, if that. Before well, during that year, let me just say during that year, oh my gosh, the fucking mistreatment, the disrespect, the fucking lack of appreciation, lack of understanding, the fucking oppression in the fucking relationship that I endured. And I'm serious. It's part of the reason that helped me come to the conclusion that that's not a situation that I would revisit. Right? But so moving forward, that's just the backdrop of the story. But moving forward, I was on my way driving home the other day. And I am a thinker, right? And I think a lot. And the epiphany that I got, kind of heavy to me. Um a few. First of all, I fucking felt like in the beginning, I felt cheated. I felt I was really, really heartbroken. This is someone that, I was in love with. And even though I am aware that, people change, I thought that the changes that he had made in there were for the better, because the changes I was making out here were for the better. We kept constant communication. He was incarcerated miles and miles and miles away from me. So we did the best that we could with our long distance relationship to be able to make it work. I thought it was working because my feelings for him remained uh basically the same. I knew that we would have to work on our relationship because we had grown possibly into separate people, but it didn't mean that we weren't compatible. It didn't mean that. So I figured that we would have to, um, work on us again. But I thought for the most part, it would be, us against the world. I really, really wanted my family to work. I really wanted my family to work. I really wanted my family to work. I did not want to fit the stereotype of the typical broken black family. Um, I wanted to break the generational curses that plagued many generations of only being raised by the women in the family and not having the father around. Um, I wanted to take on a one woman's war against society for telling me that I couldn't have a family, for trying to get me to believe that the black family wasn't worth saving, that the black family was, non existent, that we couldn't make it, all of that type of shit. And I really, really wanted to work. So I stayed around for them 13 years. But this is how, my main point being is the epiphany I had. And this is how I keep learning this lesson that we are in spiritual warfare more than we want to recognize. Um, and how spirituality definitely coincides with this reality that we're living here. It's like two parallel streets that they may be like cousins. You know what I'm saying? Like two parallel streets, spirituality and this reality that we're living right now is like two parallel streets with a couple of blocks in between. And one of the streets, they both go with the same direction. They both get you to the same destination. It's just that one may take you a little bit around a couple of curves and bends, and the other one may just be a little more straightaway. One is like a scenic route, so to speak, and one is like an expressway. I don't know. But they're like cousins, and not even distant cousins. They're like first cousins, spirituality and this reality. And what I fucking learned is that, in the process while I was waiting for him, right? At that time, in my heart, I felt like I was doing the right thing. I was going for what I wanted. I was going for, which was my family. Um, I was going to achieve that. Um, I was prioritizing that. And that's just, what I was going for. I was going to save my family. And I was under the impression that he was too, and that we was in a good fight together. But what I realized, spiritually speaking, is that in the pursuit of what I thought was happiness, in the pursuit of my heart's desires at that time, in the pursuit of saving my family at that time, I was fucking totally disregarding myself. I was disregarding myself. Now I know it might not seem like it, but sometimes you got to get a little deep with yourself, and sometimes you got to peel back these fucking layers. You got to go deeper than the fucking surface. And what I mean is because on the surface, I definitely wanted my family, but I was self-sacrificial. I was risking my happiness for what I thought was the better picture, because I'm aware that sacrifice has to come from somewhere. There has to be a balance in all things. So I at the time I fucking felt like if everyone else is okay, if everyone that I love is okay, then that is what's going to make me okay. So there was so many things that I sacrificed my own happiness, um, my own longing for um, romanticism, um, companionship, you know, um, major purchases. Like there was just such a delay that I refrained from self-sacrificing. I was totally neglectful to myself because I wanted my family to work. And so I had made up in my mind that this person that I was in a, becoming and who I was uh, absolutely would make a great mate to someone. So there was a lot of things that I didn't do because I felt like I was leaving him behind. If that makes any sense to you. Here's what I mean. The motherfucking nigga was going 13 motherfucking years. And I had reached a place in my employment that my pay had increased and things were looking better for me and for us financially, right? And I was in a position to where I could have gotten my home earlier. I could have gotten a home at the time. I I could have and should have dated. I should have explored other options. I should have really lived my life. Now, I didn't fall out and just die. I didn't do that. But I gave up a lot of myself because I kept listening to my other self. Now, we all have, well, I don't know, some of us have multiple personalities, you know what I'm saying? But I definitely have two majors. I'm not afraid to fucking say it. I am not. That's the reality of the shit. I can be calm and cool and I can be good, or I cannot be the fuck good. Even at my age, and I'm at the age of 47, I have not been able to find a medium, a space where I can balance the good and not so good. I'm either one or the other. Two extreme energies. I realize that they're extreme and they can coexist together. Maybe the medium is me right now. Maybe that's the medium. I don't fucking know. But excuse me. I kept listening to my other self, and my other self, which probably was low vibrational, which probably was the person that became codependent on Judas. I never thought that I was codependent, but when you start peeling some of the fucking layers back and digging a little deeper and you getting these fucking epiphanies, you start asking more questions. So you're like, or I'm like, how? And then why? Oh, but then what? Like that. And what I discovered is that in the midst of him becoming my homie, lover, friend, husband, um before he was incarcerated, I was damn. I feel like that's when I became codependent on him, although I didn't realize it at the time. I thought that I was so in love. Um But I became, and maybe because it's just me that I don't really think it's a bad thing, but I became codependent on his energy because I felt like we were equals. Yes, I was a female and I was this beautiful, Mrs., but I felt like he was definitely the masculine version of myself. And even looking back on it now, I really don't think it was toxic. I really don't feel that way at the time. But all of these fucking scientists and psychologists and all this other shit, say that codependency is toxic behavior. So if it is, I can't challenge that right now. So be it. All right. But I was in my head saying to myself, as a significant other, as someone that you say that you love and respect, it's just some shit that you just not gonna do. You're not gonna do shit that you don't want done to you. You're not, I was taking him into consideration 90% of the time. Most of my decision makings um revolve totally around my family. Now, I am not saying that that's a bad thing, but it becomes a bad thing and it becomes toxic when your thought process is backwards. It becomes a bad thing and it becomes toxic when you are silencing yourself. You are sacrificing yourself for others, for what you think would be a great mate to someone. And so instead of allowing things to take its course naturally, you want to have some type of control and you start saying, you know what, well, I'm going to be this type of mate and I'm going to be that type of mate. Not not allowing not allowing things to take its natural course, not allowing um him to, or even myself, to really know the type of woman that I was becoming, because the type of woman that I was becoming, I kept holding a large portion of that woman back because I did not want to go past him. I didn't want to feel like I was leaving him. So I refrained a lot from having experiences all the way to my job scheduling, my employment. I mean, in summary, when I look back on it, um, because now I'm in this dope ass space, and I feel the need to go back and revisit things, not just because I didn't heal, but because a lot of conclusions that I had come to still can be right, but it was not the end all be all of how our situation came to its demise. That's number one. Another thing is that going back and revisiting is not even because I want to be toxic, but because there was more lessons that I was supposed to learn. That in midstream of me being fucking hurt, all I could see is just one thing. Like all I could see is that he fucking hurt me, and that, you know what, that motherfucker. That's all I can. I was just solely operating out of hurt. Everything that came out of my mouth, everything that I thought, and so my vision was still limited. Now that I am healed from that situation and my thought process is different, and I can go back and look at some other lessons that I was supposed to learn. And one of the lessons that I see that I was supposed to learn is I have to always put myself first. That's what self love is. And what I mean by put myself first is because I have to be dependent on me to take care of me before I could be dependent on anyone else to take care of me. I have to give people, now I don't have to, but the people that I am loving, I have to. because I love them and I'm assuming that they love me, I need to give them an outline on how to treat me. I need to help them understand the expectations I have when I am in their presence, because I am going to be away with them when they are in my presence. You understand what I'm saying? I learned so much about self-love because, as I've stated in other videos, never had a problem with not loving myself. I've always loved myself. I didn't have a self-esteem issue. I still don't have a self-esteem issue, thank God. But I was loving myself wrong. I was loving myself wrong when I am doing all the work, and I'm talking about mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. I'm doing all the fucking work. I'm doing the fucking praying. I'm busting my ass at this motherfucking job, okay? I'm doing all the fucking work. I'm taking care of our fucking kids. I am becoming what I think is a great spouse. I am fucking supportive of him in his motherfucking situation. I am there for him. He was motherfucking paroled to me, and I was like, you can't date, you can't be out there like that, because when he too do, touch down, when he do come home, you don't ever want somebody to be able to say to him, I had I had this, or you don't ever want to allow no one to one up him. You know what I'm saying? We fucking grown, So that was my thought process then. And I'm not saying that it was a bad thing, but what am saying is that there was a lot that I did not get to experience that I should have experienced. Um because I put myself on the line. I put my own happiness, things that I may have wanted to do. Not only did I not do them, but I thought that in not doing them, not becoming even better and greater, not becoming my full self, not becoming financially better, more mentally stable, more spiritually foundational, like not doing those things, like just putting a cap on it. I put the ceiling on myself because I didn't want to make him feel like I had left him. Like I didn't want him to feel like we were in two totally different fucking worlds and that we could not um regain what we had lost, or maybe not even regain, because when you lose, maybe I didn't want him to ever think that we couldn't make it because I was so far gone. So I put a ceiling on myself, and I should have never fucking done that. I should have never fucking done that. And yeah, I could say that now, but I realized that recently that I was doing too fucking much for someone else and not enough for myself. Because I kept, like, if he's happy and our boys are happy, then I'm gonna be good because I love them and they are what make me happy. You know, I chose love over surface shit. I chose love over materialism. I chose love over, that was my thought process. Being in love with someone else more than I love myself. And it took that ride home for me the other day to be like, oh shit. When I had that fucking epiphany that self love is just that, it's love of self. It is not love of others over yourself. It is not constantly feeling like you have to prove yourself to people that you say you love and people that say that they love you. It is self acceptance, yes, but it is also being aware that the people that say that they love you fully accept you for who you are, where you are at any time, in your life, because you are not hurting them in being yourself. You're not leaving them behind and therefore hurting their feelings and being yourself. You don't have to dumb yourself down in order to be accepted by them. You don't have to dumb yourself down to think that they won't love you if you're too successful and whatever. You could be successful in living, successful in employment, financially successful, whatever you deem as being successful. You don't have to dumb yourself down and shy away from that, thinking that you would leave someone behind if you succeeded in being successful. I had gotten in my own way unintentionally. I really felt like I was doing the right thing. I was totally unaware at the time that I was not honoring myself. I was totally unaware at the time that I was holding myself back. And I think that's part of the reason why I was so angry in the beginning, because I kept feeling like 13 years, I gave 13 years of my resources and my energy to this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And 13 to 13 years. And yes, that is the truth. Could be my allergies, pardon me. That's definitely true. But what I was neglecting to understand in that hurt is that it was still a decision that I made. Yes, he benefited. Yes. But it was still a decision that I made, even though I made it out of love, even though I thought I was doing the right thing. And it's not to say that I did the wrong thing. It's just when you know better, you do better. And so moving forward into any other relationships that I will encounter, I know now how to make it understood, um how I am with me and how I expect to, I have a voice now. It's not just thoughts. It's not just me being in my head. It's not just me questioning, like, should I do this or should I do that? I also have a voice for me. I'm my spokesperson. I don't have to just think it and come up with my own conclusion. I can present it and say, this is just what it is. And taking accountability, right? Um, it's not an easy feat, but it's grown. You know what I'm saying? It's grown, it's mature, you know, to take accountability. Um, in the balance of all things. Because he is just, he's not the man for me anymore. Um, and it's not just the person who, I thought I knew or I thought I've loved. I did love him at one time, but it's way more than that. Um, I can be pissed off over those fucking 13 years because of, you know, I ultimately did not get my wish fulfillment of having a black family, a successful black family. I didn't get that. I was, but again, it was a choice. I could have left his ass. How Mary said in that song, I should have left your ass 1,000 1,000 times. I could have left his ass. I probably should have left his ass, but that's not my love language. When I'm loving someone, and in free will, you have choices. But it doesn't matter what your choices is, even if your intention is good or if you have ill intent, there's consequences behind every decision that you make. And my decision to go on that journey with him came at such a tumultuous time in my life. And him and my children was just the love of my life, and I felt like I needed to hang on to that in order to survive, in order to make it. And I realize now that the only love that I needed to hang on to in order to really make it was the love of myself and the love of the Creator, my spiritual team, God, the universe, the ancestors. Those are the love, because those are that is my spiritual team, and that is who have comforted me, who sent me divine messages, who I've been in prayer with, who helped me get to understanding. Whoever you subscribe to, it'll be the same thing for you. Because let me tell you where I am right now. I am in such a good place. I am in a place that I am not angry anymore at him, at the situation, at myself. Pardon me if I get emotional, but it is such a relief, because when you are hurting, everything feels so heavy. The fucking world feels upside down and backwards. You could barely understand what people were saying. You question yourself. Everybody's energy appears to be off, even if it's not, because you're just trying to get some type of understanding of what the fuck is going on, how your world could just spin out of control. And so I'm so grateful right now is why I'm shedding tears. I'm so grateful to be in the space that I'm in right now. I am no longer angry. It was a time where there was a time where I kept saying, he's going to get calmer. He's going to get calmer. He's going to get calmer. And I had to say that to myself in order to find some type of relief, because I was hurting so bad. And I just was like, it's just no way that he's not going to hurt. It's just no way that he has to hurt because I was hurting. But I'm in a space right now. There is peace. It's tranquil. It's serene. I am living. I'm doing what the fuck I want to do. I no longer have to worry about how he may feel about what it is I'm doing. And I'm not even doing nothing crazy right now, but just basic living. Like, I spent so much time trying to do the right thing by him when he was away, taking him into every single decision that I made, that now when I make decisions and I don't have to think about that, it's like so freeing for me. I used to be so stressed out because I would be like, you know what? My job was still very demanding with overtime. I have to work overtime a lot. And I would feel some type of way, even when he was away, because I was saying, you know what? Okay, I'm going to get my money up. I'm going to get this money together so that I could kind of like solidify our future and give us a great foundation. But this shit got to give at some point because when he returned, nobody wants their mate constantly working all the time. Working. And no matter if that was true or not, that's not my point. My point is that I took every single thing that I thought would make me a better mate. I mean, I took him into consideration every which way, even times, days when I wanted companionship, when I wanted, adult time, when I felt that I wanted to be in not just the presence of a man. I've had opportunities to date. Um, I wanted affection, from a man, and not sexual. I wanted the hug, the masculinity, the support, you know, don't worry, everything is going to be okay. There were certain things that I wanted at certain times, because sometimes, life got hard. Sometimes I did feel alone. Sometimes I felt lonely, you know, and I kept telling myself, you can't date because you don't ever want somebody to feel like they could one up your man. So you can't do this and you shouldn't do that. And if you shouldn't do it, then don't do it. You don't want your sons to see you out in these streets crazy. You don't want to have a reputation of, just, oh man. You understand where I'm going with it. Like, I don't have to keep giving examples. You understand where I'm going with it. So now that I'm able to, when my supervisor say, you got to stay at work today, I call my kids who are, one is no longer a kid and another one is a teenager, so they're pretty independent. I call, I check in with them, to make sure that they okay. You know what I mean by checking in as a parent. You're not checking in. You checking. You're tapping in. You know what I'm saying? So I tap in with them and make sure they okay, and that's it. I could stay at work and say, you know what, there's some short term goals I set for myself, some long term goals I set for myself, and some shit that I gotta do. So you know what? If I gotta stay, this is fine because they're taking care. Home is taken care of. I'm able to achieve now and do what I want to do for me and do the things that make me happy and plan for me and not have to worry about offending no one else. I don't have to worry about people pleasing. I don't have to worry about outside acceptance because I'm fucking doing me. I'm doing me. I'm doing me. I'm doing